Hello, I'm Christian Rieda, and today I'm going to do a video about cybersecurity, the professional module of system and networking strengthening. We are going to talk about how to do a certificate with authentication, about Radius, 2FA, that is two-factor authentication, HPA, HPA Science, and Basic Auth. We are going to start talking about certificate with authentication, and we do this to have a security connection to any site or between machines to see that we are in a security website and to avoid any loss of information. For this activity, we need two virtual machines, two Kali machines, one that is going to be the server with the certificate, and the other that is going to be the client. Okay, we start in the client machine and we generate the public and private key with password. We put this command with SSH keygen and we generate the two keys. And with LL we see the content that we have the two key files. The public is the file that ends with path and the private is the other. Okay, we open the other virtual machine that is going to be the server, and we see with IPA the IP, and we have to start the SSH service. With IPI, we see in the interface ETH0 the IP that it's these numbers in purple, and we start this service sh with the command service ssh start. Now we return to the client machine and we connect via SSH and the IP to the server machine and we send the keys. We copy the two key files and we connect via SSH, putting Kali, that is the name of the user from the other machine, and the IP, and we have to put the password when we put this command. Now in the server machine we do a LL to the directory that is saved and we see that we have the private key. Now we have to edit the SSH config file and we need to increment the PathKey authentication because we are going to use authentication with keys and this is not activated as default. We have to open the file with Nano or Mousepad or the editor you want, and we go to the line of PathKey authentication that we see that it's yes, and this as default it is with a hashtag in blue and we have to key it. Now we have to restart the SSH service and we have to, and when we restart it we see the status to see that if it is active, because if it puts disable, is that something went wrong in the previous page. Now we connect again via SSH to the server machine, and we put the key password, and we will enter to the server, and with IP A we see that we are in the server in SSH session. We put again the command to connect with the user and the IP, and we put the password, and now we are going to see another shell, and if we do IPA we see that it's the IP of the server and we are in a SSH session. Okay, now we are going to do radios in Cisco Packet Tracer, and we need 3 laptops, 1 wireless router, 1 2916 switch, and 1 server. For creating the network, we're going to use this topology, and we connect via fast Ethernet the server radius to the switch and the switch to the router. Now we enter to one laptop. To enter we have to click one, and we are going to see this menu, and we have to power off the laptop because we're going to change one module, because now the laptop doesn't work with a wireless connection and we have to change it. So we click in these buttons, in this circle button, and the module we are going to change is this. So this module we have to click in WPC 310, and we have to put in this part of the laptop to use it. This previous step we repeat for the 3 laptops, and we're going to see that are going to start to connect to the router. But now we click in the router, and we go to the GUI menu, and we have to put the internet connection type in DHCP. We configure the IP address and the subnet mask that are going to receive the connection. We enable the DHCP server if it is disabled, and we put the first address that the first laptop is going to receive and the last one. And we can put a maximum number of users if we want to control it more. But now we go to the server that we have to click, and we're going to see this menu, and we go to the config menu, and we put a static IP with the subnet and gateways. We go to the command prompt of the radius in the desktop menu, and we do a ping to the router to see if there is connection between them. We have to see the replies from the router. Now we go to server service, and we go to AAA, and we fill the gaps with router IP name and secret, and we click add. When we click add, we see the user that we create, and this is going to be useful for the laptops. Now we add 3 users. one for every laptop, and we create a password. Now we add another second wireless router to the network, and we go inside the second router to GUI menu, and we configure again the IP of the router and the range of IPs that it's going to give, and we save the settings. We connect the second router via fast Ethernet to the switch, and in the server we add the register for the second router in AAA service. We go to the server command prompt again, and we ping the second router to check if there is connection between them, and we will see the replies from the router. Now we go to the first router, and we go to GUI section, and we click on wireless in this menu, and wireless security. We must activate WPA2 enterprise security, and we write the network IP address and the password for the wireless connection. Here we write the IP address and the password for the that we have configured here in the server radius, and we save the settings. But with this change, let us reconnect to a second router because they don't know the credentials to get into the first one. Now, with the change that we made in the first router adding security, the laptops need to authenticate with a user and password, and as they don't do it, they go to the second router that it's open without any credentials. Now we are going to the same. We go to wireless and wireless security in the second router, and we put the IP and the password and the WPA2 enterprise, and we save the settings. Now, as the laptop doesn't know any credential of any router, they are going to be disconnected and without any connection to internet. Now we go to the router, and in the first router we go to wireless, and you're going to see the basic wireless settings, and we add a name of the SICD of the network, and we do the same in the second router. But now we can click in the laptop that we want, and we go to desktop and PC wireless. We are going to see that we don't have any wireless connection. We go to connect, and we see the wireless connections that are detected and the signal. We go to profiles, and we click in edit. We are going to see this screen, and we click in advanced setup. We are going to start creating the profile, and we click on infrastructure mode, and we continue. We choose obtain network setting from DHCP, and we continue because the IP and the subnet mask are going to come from the router. Now we select the security WPA2 enterprise, that are the security that the routers use. Now we have to put the password and user that are the credentials that we configure in the server, and we are going to see this window with all the settings and we save. Now we are going to have the profile created. The PC, the laptop is going to start to connect and we are going to see the link quality and signal strength if we are connected. We repeat the previous steps for the other two laptops and we will have all connected to the access point that we select. In the first two laptops I select the first router and they connected with the credentials, and in the last one the second router. We can see the IP that comes from the DHCP of the router that we have all here, and we can try to ping any other laptop and we see that there is connectivity between them. Now we are going to talk about 2FA, and for this exercise we need one Kali machine and the Google Authenticator app. We start installing the Google Authenticator in Kali and we go to our mobile phone. In this case it's an Android mobile phone, but in Apple the application is also. So we search in the store the Google Authenticator app and we download. We have to open the SSH, the etc and the SSHD file, and we add this line to require Google Authentication. If we are using the same Kali machine, we have this line, the public authentication as yes, but if we don't have it, we change the no to yes. Now we generate a QR with Google Authentication to link the mobile phone. We scan from the mobile phone the QR and we are going to see one code, and we have to enter it here and we are going to see that it's confirmed and the emergency codes if we lose the application or we don't know the code to enter. We try an SSH connection in Kali and we enter users passwords and new code from Google Authentication app. Now we have to put the user, the password and the code from Google Authenticator. We can see SSH logs and history with sudo journal ctl, SSH no pager, no hostname, and 15. We see all the errors and at the end the last connection that we success connect. Here we have the successful connection. Now we are going to talk about HPA. We create and give permissions to log directory. So we create with mkdir and with chmod 700 we do the permissions. We create the shell that will execute and we add execute permission to the file we have created. This prompt is going to detect when we use the root user with sudo l to see all that he is doing for security if anyone enters to our machine and uses it. We add two files the new part for logs to execute every time it opens a session. But now we log with sudo I to be root users, and we prove commands after we check our logs file, and we see that we can see all the commands root has executed. So we have to use the root user with the sudo I command, and we try the commands that we want, a ping or IPA or any command, and in the logs file we are going to see the commands that use it in a new file. With Nano Editor we can check more information about the commands. Now we do a HPA challenge that it's detecting all the commands for root user, because with root user you can enter with sudo I, sudo L or sudo su or other commands, and with the previous exercise we only detect sudo user with sudo L, and we are going to do that it detects every root command. So we add in the root bash file these commands to save all the logs from root user. But now in the login sh file we left empty because we don't need it now. I had a problem that was that I have by default in my machine root user using set sh shell, and we need for our configuration bin bash. So we check our root shell with grep root, and with sudo chsh we change it to bin bash. Now we try root user with sudo su, sudo l, or the command that we want, and we will see the new log files with the commands that root uses. We can check inside with Nano Editor what he did. Now we are going to talk about basic auth. We update our Kali machine and we install Apache Server. We create the path and we add an HTML file with a message. We create the password files on a different path and we add a password to admin user. We write the configuration file with sudo t and eof. We enable our site and we restart Apache. We try our server with school without credentials and we can see the website. Then we do another call with admin credentials and we see the website content. Now from another Kali, we attack our site with Hydra, with username and a file with passwords to try. If we don't know the user, we can put another file for user. We will see below the correct login with the credentials. So I created a txt file with name of users and passwords, and I send it to our site, and we see the connection, and we exchange the login user that is admin and the password that is monlau. Now we are going to protect our site using certificates. We create our CA certificate. Now we create the key and CSR of the server. We write with sudo t and off the Sun server extensions. We make a certificate signed by our CA. Now we make client CSR and key, and we create client extensions. We create a signed certificate by our CA for the client, and we package the client on the browser as P12 and we put a password. We configure the path privilege and we activate SSL's headers and we restart Apache to apply change. Now we demand certificates in our server to enter the website and we edit the file with sudo t and off. We disable the old site and we activate the new one with certificates, then we restart Apache. On the server machine, we send the certificate and the key via SSH to the client. We must write user password and if we have full authentication, the code from the app. And now on the client, we enter Firefox and we add the authority to our browser. We also add the certificate in certificates. And when we enter our website Firefox, tell us what certificate we want to use and we click in what we added. And now we must log in with a website user. And we will enter inside and we are going to see the content. But now we try from the client to attack website with Hydra at HTTP and HTTPS protocol, but we are not going to succeed because TLS blocks all the attacks and we can extract information about users. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you next time.